Sigmund Freud once argued that most of our decisions are driven by unconscious, primal urges. If he were alive today, watching us doom scroll through Instagram while our nervous systems fry from productivity guilt, I'm convinced he'd add a new diagnosis to his clinical manual: Financial Pornography Syndrome. We've turned money into a digital fetish, a dopamine loop we stare at to escape the burnout culture that's eating us alive. I recognized this sickness in myself after picking up The Millionaire Fastlane by DeMarco. Now, at my age, reading a book with Fastlane on the cover feels like a cruel joke. The only speed I care about these days is how fast my Tums kick in after a spicy meal. Initially, I rolled my eyes. I thought, great, another manual on how to manifest a yacht using the law of attraction. But I was wrong. Beneath the flashy business jargon, DeMarco is preaching a deeply existential philosophy about time. He's smashing the great lie we've all been fed since kindergarten: the slow lane. There's this old dusty joke that perfectly sums up the American corporate ladder. A young guy asks a billionaire, "Sir, what's the secret to your incredible wealth?" The old man leans back and says, "Well, son, when I was your age, I found a nickel on the street. I bought an apple, polished it, and sold it for a dime. The next day, I bought 2 apples, polished them, and sold them for 20 cents. I did this tirelessly, day after day, for 40 years. The kid is wide-eyed. And after 40 years, that persistence built this empire? The billionaire sighs. No. After 40 years, my father-in-law died and left me $80 million. That is the problem with the slow lane. We're taught the script: get a degree, land a stable 9-to-5, save 10% of your paycheck, skip the Starbucks lattes, and max out your 401k. Then, through the magic of compound interest, you'll be a millionaire at 65. But here's the part the financial gurus don't tell you. What good is being a millionaire at 65 in a country with the most expensive healthcare in the world? By then, one medical bill could wipe out 40 years of latte-skipping savings. You're using that money to pay for hip replacements and a therapist to treat the decade of depression you ignored while grinding. Compound interest is a mathematical marvel, but it's a biological and mental disaster. It's a bet where you gamble your vibrant golden years for a hazy promise in the twilight of your life. DeMarco breaks us down into 3 financial archetypes, and honestly, it's a mirror most of us don't want to look into. First, you've got the sidewalk. These are the short-term hedonists. Their motto is carpe diem, seize the day, or at least seize the new iPhone on a 24-month installment plan. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "Life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom." Sidewalkers try to cure the boredom by buying the jewelry of wealth: designer clothes and leased BMWs they can't afford. They think more stuff equals less anxiety, but in reality, their possessions own them. They aren't free, they're just high-end prisoners of their own dopamine loops. Then there's the slow lane. These are the good citizens. They're disciplined, they pack their lunch in Tupperware, and they wait. But here's the math. Your income is tethered to your time. Income equals hourly wage times hours worked. And unless you're a ghost, you only have 24 hours. It reminds me of Zeno's paradox, Achilles chasing the tortoise. Every time Achilles reaches where the tortoise was, it's moved a little bit further. In the slow lane, every time you save a little, inflation and the cost of living move the goalpost. You're forever a breathless Achilles running after the tail of a consumer price index, wondering why your mental health days aren't working. So, what's the alternative? The fast lane isn't a get-rich-quick scam. It's about getting rich fast. There's a difference. It's about high-intensity creation. The secret is building the money tree, a system that runs while you're sleeping. DeMarco uses a framework called CENTS, but if you look closer, it's actually a recipe for minimalist autonomy. First, you need control. You have to own the system. If you build your business on someone else's land, like relying entirely on a social media algorithm, you're just a modern-day serf. As Epictetus said, only concern yourself with what is within your control. Control is the ultimate anti-anxiety medication. Then there's entry. This is a hard truth. If a job is easy and anyone can do it, the pay will eventually drop to zero. Greatness requires a barrier to entry. If being Socrates was as easy as standing in a plaza and rambling, his death wouldn't be a symbol of immortality. And don't forget the need. This is a slap in the face to the follow your passion crowd. The market doesn't care about your soul. It's a perfect egoist. It only cares if you can solve its pain. There's a joke about two philosophers walking in the woods when they encounter a fierce bear. One quickly kneels to tighten his sneakers. The other scoffs, "You're a fool. How can you outrun a bear?" The first replies calmly, "I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you." That's the market. You just need to solve a human need better than the guy next to you. Finally, you have to consider time and scale. Can the business survive without you? If you stop working and the money stops, you don't own a business. You own a job where the boss is a jerk, and that boss is you. Influence equals income. If you want millions, you have to serve millions. If you sell a bowl of ramen, you're full for a night. If you invent a way to feed ramen to 1,000,000 busy people, you build a castle. When I finished the book, I realized I didn't hate the idea of being rich anymore. Philosophers have always looked down on wealth, but maybe they were looking at the wrong kind. True wealth isn't a Ferrari or a 401k statement you read in a nursing home. True wealth is what DeMarco calls the 3 F's: family, fitness, and freedom. Money can't buy a real friend, but it can buy freedom. It buys back your time. It frees you from the 6 a.m. alarm, the soul-sucking meetings, and the toxic productivity that's destroying our mental health. It gives you the ultimate luxury, the power to say no. The Fastlane isn't a walk in the park. It's a few years of working like a maniac to build a pump so you don't have to carry buckets for the rest of your life. It's about reclaiming your youth while you still have the joints and the sanity to enjoy it. So, I'm going to stop complaining about my back pain for a minute. I might be late to the Fastlane, but I'm still sharp enough to laugh at myself. Sorry, inflation. With a little bit of philosophy, a dash of minimalism, and a solid system, I'm still going to outrun you. Because at the end of the day, the richest man isn't the one who has the most stuff. It's the one who reclaimed his time before his knees and his mind started protesting.